Good evening, Mr. Firstel. This is Tristan Alexander checking in with my research paper. I'm going to start off with first just talking about the paper in general and kind of what I was looking for in a paper. One topic that I often look into and research on that I thought would be a good research topic was the role that agents play in collegiate athletics. Um, After doing this paper and doing a lot of research on this, I found out a lot of different things on not only how they're involved with them, but just pretty much the effects that it has on the not only professional realm of football, but also the collegiate aspect. Um, it began to change. When you start getting into professional athletics, it changes from what was the game that you grew up as a child playing into what is now pretty much a business by the time you make it to the professional ranks. And for some, that's a good thing because you do get that paycheck that pays off for a lot of the time that you spent on training, supplements, and all the other things that you need to get to that elite level. But for some, it takes away the fun of it, and some people don't like that level of competition. But anyways, the agency role pretty much evolved back in the 1960s when there was a big boom in the salaries for the players. When used to be the role was the parents would be able to take care of the salaries and manage the money for the player while they were in the league. Once the salary started becoming multi-million dollars, as we see today, the role of agents really stepped up because they needed professional help, such as lawyers and what have you, to intervene with their finances and make sure that everything, especially as the contracts got heavier, make sure that each line was written and everything was signed and everything was correct before they signed these deals. As these evolve, though, corruption and things like that begin to take a part of not only the agency business but football as a whole. Mainly because, as you know, humans are greedy and they strive to be the best at what they do, even if that for some people means cheating, unfortunately. We see this in cases most recently, such as the Reggie Bush and O.J. Mayo scandals, both from University of Southern California, both phenomenal players. Reggie Bush, a football player, and O.J. Mayo, a basketball player. Both top of their classes, both top of their sport. At the time being that they were there, Reggie Bush was actually a national champion as well as the Heisman Trophy winner while he was in his tenure at Southern California. After both decided to declare for the draft, things started to surface about their actual time while at Southern California. Bush, in turn, he got his Heisman Trophy taken away, as well as his national championship and all the wins and things like that during that time revoked by the NCAA. Same with Mayo in his term at Southern California. They both received improper benefits. With that being said, it's a very broad statement. For Bush, it entailed things such as a house for his parents, a car, travel expenses, food, clothes, you name it, they had it because that's what the agents do for these players that don't do it the ethical way. Same thing for Mayo, generally along the same lines. He received more in travel benefits, food, electronics, or what have you. All these took place while still enrolled as an NCAA collegiate athlete rather than a professional. Because of this, it has really plagued collegiate athletics because it has brought in the money to what is supposed to be considered an amateur sport, but has really changed, especially with the franchising of TVs and how modern it is now, and everybody can view these players, and they're basically playing, well, for free in some instances, just because they're not getting a contract or a salary, but they are getting paid through scholarships and what have you. But because of this, it's starting to plague this and starting to cause a lot of friction in between the players, the organizations, and the agents, and causing a lot of stress for many collegiate athletics players. Laws have been set in place. There's a couple court cases that I mentioned in my paper, but pretty much, although they have been implemented, and there's quite a few laws surrounding agents and the registration to become an agent and what have you. It still seems that even with these implemented, it is not something that is completely taken over because there is still corruption in the business and there's still lots of cheating. And what have you to go the illegal way to be successful, unfortunately. So pretty much with that being said, although they are effective laws and they are in place, it is still one of those things where corruption seems to be in the sport. And I wouldn't say it's at an all-time high now. It was probably in the past 10, 15, 20 years a little bit higher than it is today, due to the fact that they're starting to crack down a whole lot more than they used to. But it is still something that is part of the sport every single day, whether it's on, whether it comes out in the presses or not. It's still something that is occurring, unfortunately, in our sport today. Pretty much the way I think that that they can take care of this is just one by one, not only in making sure that these rules are taken out and enforced, making sure that the people are properly educated about it, because not only is it one side, the agent's fault for pursuing them and giving these certain things, it's also the player's fault for not knowing what they received or not doing it the right way. So when it comes to both sides of that, the league as itself, professional and NCAA, needs to make sure that these agents do the right thing, and if they don't, enforce very strict penalties that would probably either take away money, clients, or even time out of the business. I didn't really research into what sanctions they have now, but that is definitely probably another thing that I could add into another paper as I continue the journey of exploring everything that this category has to offer in the sports world. But as well, making sure that the colleges and universities around the nation at all levels, whether it's D1, D2, D3, NAIA, what have you, making sure that these players know exactly what they can receive, what they can't receive, from whom they can receive it, and to what extent they can receive it. So making sure that these players know the day that they step on that campus what is right and what is wrong. So at the end of the day, they know that if they are in trouble, the school is not liable, but the fact is that's on them, so they should have known otherwise. This is a lot of information, and I know that's a very broad topic, but there's a lot of different ways to go about this. But in this paper, it'll explain a whole lot more about what I'm talking about, and I hope you enjoy it. Thank you so much for this semester, and I look forward to seeing you soon.